Your soul is fierce, your heart is brave, and your mind is strong. Okay, grab that cup of coffee and listen in. I've got a little bit of inspiration. Let's go. Welcome to Step Forward with Terry Mullen. If you're new here, welcome. If you have been following along for a while, welcome back, and thank you so much for being here. I'm a mom to 4 adults, a wife of 34 years, a midlife entrepreneur, and your confidence coach who transformed my own doubt into confidence to speak, write my book, start a podcast, and launch my own business. Now I empower other amazing women just like you to do the same. So lean in and learn how to crush that fear, amplify your voice, and build confidence to create your own impact and income. I'm here to encourage you and empower you every step of the way. Let's step forward. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Step Forward podcast. I am so grateful you're here. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope this episode really blesses you today, because today we're going to talk about regret. I know it's kind of a heavy topic, but it's really been heavy on my heart and mind, and I think it's something that we really need to dive in and talk about, especially as midlife women. And for those of us that are coaches and course creators, often we talk about all the limiting beliefs that we all have, right? And I think that regret kind of gets lumped into that limiting thought or limiting belief category. But I think regret is separate. And the reason is because it's kind of subconscious, something that we don't even really consciously think about, but it holds us back. It holds us back in so many areas of our life. And it can be the small regrets that we have or the really big and obvious ones, right? So let's dive into this, because I think there's 3 main things that regret does. And just like I've been sharing, number 1, it holds us back. Number 2, it really keeps us stuck. It's like being in quicksand. You know how that feels, right? We're unable to move forward. We're unable to step forward with not only our own dreams and goals that we have, but we're not able to step fully into what God has for us, our full potential. And then number 3, it keeps us playing small. We dim our light. And we don't step into the woman that we were created to be, if that makes any sense. And maybe you feel that today. But I think regret becomes like a heavy weight that we carry. You know when you go to the gym and you add weight to that bar that you're going to lift, or even a machine, right? And I think that regret is like that. It's like adding weight. It compounds. And often we forget to remove it, right? So what do? We just carry it with us. We carry it in our heart and our spirit and our soul, and even in our minds subconsciously. And it weighs us down. It slows us down, right? We forget to let go. And we carry it almost like a badge of honor in a way, don't we? That regret, depending on our childhood or our family dynamics or even a faith background. But we all have regrets. We're human. We don't ever arrive at this season of our life without having some. We have those failed relationships, those broken marriages. We've had failed businesses. We've had disappointments and detours and stop signs, right? We have grief. We have the wrong decisions we've made, or maybe even a series of them. And we have unhealthy coping mechanisms to deal with our pain and hurt if we haven't taken the time to do the growth, right? Yes, we all have them. We all have regret, but it's what we do with it. It starts by facing it. It starts by dealing with it. And a lot of times I think we just suppress it, and that leads to kind of those unhealthy patterns and things that happen in our life because we don't want to deal with it. It's so painful sometimes, but it all starts there. It's the only way we can move forward. And the reason I know this is because I've had them, and I write about mine in my book, Step Forward. I talk about the battles that I fought, and I share 10 shoes that I needed to step into in order to step forward with my life. And the first shoe is the battle boots. They were the boots that I had to step into and wade through the muck of my life. Face me, face us in our marriage, face the different decisions I made or didn't make, face a series of decisions that probably weren't great, or the pain, or not being who I truly am, or not speaking up. It all started with facing myself, those failures, that rejection, that regret, all of it. And it was only once I faced them that I could step into the shoes that I needed to step forward with my life. One of my main regrets was not finishing college. I got great grades in school, had dreams of being a doctor, and I went away to college, but I quit my first semester. I was qualified, but there was so much going on in my life that all of a sudden I just left. And after I left, suddenly I felt like I wasn't qualified. I didn't feel like I was smart anymore. I felt like I disappointed not only myself, but those who loved me, including my grandfather, who had big dreams and goals for me. I would have been the first to go to college in my family. Yes, I carried that regret for such a long time. And you know what? It didn't serve me. I ended up with an eating disorder and, just a lot of things to cope, right? And maybe you're like me. Maybe you have those regrets in your life. And if you do, I want you to pause me right now. I want you to let go. Let go of all those things that you've been carrying around. I want you to grab a journal and I want you to write down those things that come to you, because I think there's great power that comes from our head to our heart to our hand when we write. So you can either put it in the journal or you can grab a piece of paper and write on the paper and then rip up the paper when you're done. Or you can do an exercise that I did with my daughter several years ago. It was such a powerful exercise. She was going through a really hard time, and I just got this idea to write down the words, things that were really weighing on her heart and in her spirit, on rocks. And then we went to the beach, and one by one, we threw those rocks into the ocean. And I did this exercise with her. It was so powerful. It was so powerful to let go, just that energy of releasing the physical throwing that weight, that burden, that regret, that shame, that guilt, whatever it was, throwing it away into the ocean. So I encourage you now, go someplace sacred, grab some rocks, write those words on rocks, and then one by one throw them over the edge of a cliff, over, into a river, into a stream, into a lake, wherever you are. Just do that. And then after you throw those rocks, write some powerful positive intentions on a 3x5 card. Anything that replaces that negative thought or that guilt or that shame. And has to be a forward-thinking thought. Things that will lift you up, things that are forward-thinking, things that you want to, not just goals, but just empowering words that you want to believe about yourself, that you want to achieve, kind of manifest, for better lack of a word. That's kind of a popular word that's thrown around, but it's a very forward-thinking thought. To this day, my daughter says that was one of the most powerful exercises she ever did. It was a very transformational, life-changing, and pivotal moment in her life. In fact, after that, she actually met the young man that would become her husband. So it was a very powerful exercise for both of us. And I actually still do this exercise to this day. There's a local cross here that I actually hike up to, because every now and again, those regrets, those small thoughts kind of filter in and start to weigh me down. So I will write words on rocks and then I will throw them over the edge. And it's so transformational for me. And then I take my 3x5 cards also, and I write down those positive intentions, those things that I want to, move forward with and manifest in my own life in the coming months. So I encourage you to do that. I want you to know that you deserve more. We have to let go in order to move forward. We have to empty out that cup. It becomes mucky and yucky. We have to dump it out, clear out our heart and mind and spirit, just like that cup, and make room for new. Make room for growth and good things. So back to my college story. I went on to become a very, very successful hairstylist. I made great money, 6 figures. I talk about this. I am an entrepreneur. I always was. I still am. But at that time when I went away to college, I thought I wanted to be a doctor. I thought that was the plan. And I thought I was letting myself down and everybody else around me. But what I didn't know was that God had bigger plans for me, right? Several years later, I met my husband, who, by the way, happened to be a college grad, East Coast frat boy. He meets me. I didn't finish college. I'm a very successful hairstylist, independent, making great money. We were so opposite. But what was so interesting is that years later, after we had been married, we had our kids, I drove right back to that very campus that I left many years before. And I had a very, very powerful moment. I had driven past this campus many times, actually every year when we headed to a vacation that we used to go to. But one particular year, I asked my husband to get off at the exit. And so he did. And I sat there in the car and I just wept. Our children were very young at the time, but I just wept. And in that moment, it was so cleansing. But I kid you not, I heard God whisper in my soul, "Turn around and look what you have now. Full van, full life, have no regrets." Have no regrets. That for me was a very pivotal and transformational moment. Powerful moment. So I encourage you to look for those serendipitous moments, create them, let go. Throw the rocks, write down positive intentions, and make room today for the new things in your life. And before we close, I want to tell you one other story. A few weeks ago, we went to Brendan Burchard's final Growth Day LA. We participated in it all year long. It was an in-person event, so powerful, just all the amazing speakers that we all know and love in this personal growth and development space. But he had a woman named Sonia Coquette do an exercise. I'd never heard her speak before. I didn't even know who she was. Maybe some of you have. Apparently, she's affiliated with Hay House, and she's an author, speaker, very dynamic, and just really interesting. And she had us do some exercises. At first, I wasn't quite sure, and then I just decided to let go and let myself be open. But she had us close our eyes and then wait for God to kind of drop in some words that we really needed to hear. And at first, to be really honest, I was really resistant. I couldn't really hear the words. And slowly I heard, stop playing small. And I kept pushing that away. And then I just paused and said, okay. And then I heard, step into your power. Stop playing small. Let go. Let go. Those were hard words for me to hear. I was resisting it. But what I know in my spirit is the amount of doubt that I carry, that I've carried on my shoulders for years. I call that voice Debbie Doubter. I talk about her in my book. You know, that limiting voice that speaks to me regularly. I just have an awareness now that it's there. I actually have a quote in my book that says, doubt kills dreams more than failure ever will, by Susie Kasem. Isn't that the truth? So when I heard the words, step into your power, you are more powerful than you know. Wow, that feels egocentric to me, doesn't it? Right? To all of us. So that scared me. I pushed it back. No, that's not me. Well, what if it's like Glinda told Dorothy? You've always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn it for yourself. That's really been my journey. And maybe it's been like that for you too. It's been trusting the gifts and talents that God has given me, trusting that they're there, trusting that we can be both powerful, fierce, and feminine all at the same time. That if we step into that, if we step into that leadership, and we trust and know that all that we've been through is for a purpose, it's for a reason, it's to help others, to speak up, to hear our voice, to hear our message, empowers others. It gives them permission to step forward. It lets them know that they're not alone. It's why I say on this podcast every single time, you are seen, you are heard, you are loved, you are valued, and you belong, because I want you to know that. I've doubted myself. I have felt unseen, unheard, like I wasn't valuable for a large part of my life. On the outside, I looked like I had it all together, right? But inside, that's how I felt. I was hurting. I felt alone. I felt rejected. I didn't feel smart, didn't feel qualified, right? I've had to do lots of deep work. And maybe that's you too. And I'm here to empower you. It's why I've started this podcast. It's why I wrote my book, Step Forward. It's why I've created my course to empower you as women, especially midlife women, to step forward. There's so much more ahead for you, but you have to let go. Remove the weight. Empty the cup. All those things that you've been carrying, dump it out. Throw the rocks and fill up your heart and soul and spirit with what God has for you. What dreams, what true purpose, whatever pain you've been through is probably the next purpose that you have in your life, to help others. And we are at a place in this world that others need to hear our story. They need to know that they're not alone. And the self-education industry that we're all a part of here with growth, with personal growth and development, it's growing rapidly. And if you wonder if anyone needs to hear you, just pause and look around. People are hurting. People are afraid. People are scared. People feel uncertain. And they need to know that someone has walked a similar path. They need to see hope that they can move forward in their marriage, in their business, in their life, in their relationships. People need to know that they're not alone, and they need to learn how to do it. And you can provide the tools for them with whatever experience you have. So, as I sat there and heard, stop playing small, I empower you to stop playing small too. Whatever those dreams are, whatever those goals are. I have big dreams. I've admitted them to my husband. I write them in a journal. But I've been afraid to show up here and admit them to you because we're afraid of what other people will think if we have big dreams, aren't we? So the dreams scare us and we play small. We don't give ourselves permission to be fierce and feminine, to step forward, to be powerful with our voice, with our intention, with our heart. That's what that's about. And I'm here giving you permission today to rebuild your life, to reinvent and to step forward with God's plan and purpose for your life. And that reminds me, I have an acronym that I'm going to end with here. I have an acronym called STEP. And I'd love for you to create one too for yourself. But mine is STEP. Kind of goes along with my whole theme, doesn't it? But STEP means strong, tenacious, empowered, purposeful. Every day on my walk, I say, I am strong, I am tenacious, I am empowered, and God has a plan and purpose for my life. Step by step, I repeat that. I start my day every day like that. So I want to encourage you. You're more than welcome to use mine, or you can create your own. But I want you to step forward and believe in all that you are. I want you to believe in all that God created you to be. And I want you to believe that whatever you've been through is for a purpose. Have no regrets. Let go. It was for a purpose to grow you, to teach you something, and to help you make a difference in this world. We can't help others if we haven't been through hard things, my friends. We cannot. Don't hide behind it. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't be afraid of it. For so long I lived in that too. Showing up and being vulnerable? Yeah, super hard. To share my failures? Yeah, hard. Hard for all of us. And in the world today where we all look like a certain way on social media, and I'm guilty of that too, right? Whether we try or not, it glamorizes our life and who we are. But the reality is, I've been through really hard things. And it's why I'm passionate about helping you move forward. I've got lots of regret, but I choose to step forward. I choose to be here to empower you, to give you permission to step forward, to find your voice and believe in all the magic that lies within you. And if you want to learn more, on Tuesday, October 22nd, I'm actually going to do a free masterclass on the power of your voice. I'd love to have you. It's free. You can learn more about me, and you can learn to step forward with your life. Have an amazing day. Know that you are seen, you are heard, you are loved, you are valued, and you belong. I'll put the information here in the show notes. Keep stepping forward, my friend, and have an amazing day. God bless. Well, thank you so much for being here and for listening in. I hope you have a few key takeaways that you can apply to your own life. And if you don't mind, if you could take just a few moments and leave me a review, I would love it. It lets me know that there are people out there on the other side of this microphone who are listening in and this has had an impact on their life. And just leave those 5-star reviews. That would be so awesome. Until we meet again, know that you are seen, you are heard, you are loved, you are valued, and you belong. Let's keep stepping forward. God bless.